Hello, everybody, and welcome back. I'm Robert with the Game House, and I'm here with Chime of TSM. You guys just had an incredible weekend. I mean, really, you guys played together as a team. Your team fighting looked awesome. You were a sniper extraordinaire out there looking like Legolas from Lord of the Rings. I mean, it was crazy to see. How are you guys feeling after a 2-0 weekend?
Thanks. It feels really good. For sure. I just think it's. I think I'm at the point where it felt really good, and right now I'm making sure that we don't get ahead of ourselves because I think we expected to play well the first week. We had like a three core that stayed with the team, so we had like some important pieces sticking together, and I think also we made some pretty crucial mistakes in both games. Myself specifically in today's game, I think. So I just think we know we can work on. We can take the wins when we get them, and then push for more than just starting well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I guess that's kind of what I was going to ask first was, you, Solo, and Maple obviously stayed together this year. Chawi was brought back on as well, or I guess never technically left. And I wanted to know how much of like a comfort thing was that for you? I know, you've gone a little bit back and forth with Golden Guardians. You get brought into TSM when things are seeming dire. You guys go on this incredible playoff run, and then now you're like solidified to start a season. Does that help a lot to have that familiarity?
Yeah, it's nice. I think it's important to be able to kind of like riff off each other and be like friendly. I think Colin does a great job, or Solo on stage, of just keeping things light, keeping things chill. Obviously, he's like the old man of the league, so he's been around to do it. But he's really good at keeping everybody happy, and obviously plays really well too. So I just think I think him specifically makes things a lot more comfortable. But Maple's like an incredibly nice person too, and it's easy to talk to them for sure.
Awesome. And I would be, remiss not to talk about your new teammates, specifically Neo. Neo's been around for a little bit. A lot of people remember him from his time on Dignitas, even all the way back as, far as Optic Gaming. But what has it been like kind of getting to play with him and somebody who's really of that high caliber?
I'm really lucky, I think, and he's just a great player and really good mechanics, really good Callista. He's known for his Callista, obviously. I just think we've been playing really well, and I think unfortunately today it didn't really show on stage in terms of our laning, which is frustrating. And I think that was something we can go back on.
Mm-hmm.
But I think also this weekend this week, I guess it's not really the weekend anymore. We kind of just took off our rust in terms of like a duo, and now I think going forwards we can really just like play like Psychopaths, which will be nice.
Now, can you explain a little bit what that means when you're saying play like Psychopaths? Are you guys going to be ultra aggressive? Like, it feels like while a lot of people are not playing passively in the bot lane, it does seem like you guys are already starting to be pretty aggressive. Are you kind of saying there's like another level to that?
Yeah, I mean, and today was aggression that failed.
Yeah.
I just think a lot of the lanes that play into Lucian Nami specifically, you just psycho trade level 1. I mean, like carry like T1 is the perfect example of that. Just like walking up, trading summoners, and just like fighting to the death, basically. And I think, we just didn't do that well today, which should have just blown out the game. And yeah, I just think that we know how to do that consistently well, and we can get on the same page next week. And I think you win by failing sometimes, and well, today I think was a good example. We made a mistake and we still held it together and came back as a team.
Well, I mean, you guys could potentially. I had somebody in my Discord saying that, this could be a baseball type story for you guys, where learning from your failures to only get better. So I think that they'll love hearing that. I gotta ask. Like, a lot of people were not expecting you guys to play very well this year. They didn't know what the bot lane would look like, what Boogie coming in would look like, and even I think the expectations were that your playoff was maybe potentially a one-off thing. You're starting already off at a 2-0 week, and you just beat a literal world champion, in your last game. So how are you guys kind of turning that, 10th place meme on its head?
We want to get ahead of ourselves, but obviously you can't like ignore the power rankings, or people will message you sometimes, or you see it on Twitter, I guess. I don't really care, to be honest, about the people who think we're like 9th, 10th, and I think it's a little bit freeing in the fact that people don't believe in us, because I think we believe in each other, and I think we're a solid team, and we have a solid staff as well. So yeah, I just think they yeah we'll surprise people.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I remember last year in an interview, I believe it might have been right after you guys made playoffs. You were brought on to the desk and talked about how, sometimes you need time to kind of find your voice with the team and everything like that. Do you feel like this season, again, coming in kind of as now almost a veteran of the team, right? Like, do you feel like you have found that position to be the leader, to be that voice that you were hoping for last year?
Yeah, I think so. I think I can be a solid voice for the team, especially when it matters. And I think Boogie is also great at doing that. Colin, I mean, I think everyone pitches in. Maple, I think it's just important to be able to step up when your team needs you, and do it with the tools that you have. Obviously, Ash, that was that game. I can just call, I have an arrow, look at me now. Colin can say the same thing. I have Ornalt, look at me now. Azir can shuffle, everything like that. I just think, you communicate that the tools that you have, and, you make up for each other as also when they miss something, right? Because not everyone's going to play perfectly all the time. And I think that's like kind of just being a good teammate is, and I think that we all have that ability.
I think that's amazing. And I would, I think people are going to want to know too, those arrows. I mean, seriously, I have not seen that in a very long time. I know they were talking about on the desk, like, oh, there are people hitting these arrows here and there. That, especially that one on Summit there into the bot lane, like in a pretty crucial point of the game, you guys are resetting, and you just, you nail him when he's right next to Maple. I mean, what Solo was saying that you were literally calling your shots. I mean, I've never seen anything like. I mean, were you just feeling it today, or what? Are you just that good on Ashe, and we're going to see more of it this year?
I think, I mean, for one, I think Ashe is really strong as a support right now because all the junglers are high tempo, fast, gank a lot. And you have like a map pack. I know Boogie specifically. It's really funny every time. He he just goes, fucking Ashe. Like every time he gets like spotted in the jungle, every time it's really funny. And so I mean, it makes junglers really annoyed. And then also the way you build, you have an ult on like a 30-second cooldown. So you just shoot. And sometimes you miss, but you have it on a really low cooldown that you just take a bunch of shots and you call them.
Okay.
Sometimes you hit.
Do you think we'll see some more Ashe out of you later on this year?
Hopefully, I think that is pretty fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd have to agree. I wanted to ask you a little bit about, like, there's been the new Scrim Block conversation and everything, and I know you've been in the LCS system, maybe not up at the LCS for a long time, but for the last couple of years. You've been kind of seeing how practices go and everything. What do you think of this new practice system, and do you think it's been helpful for you, not as good for you, or just kind of meh?
I think it's been helpful. I think certain teams obviously are really opposed to it. Certain teams love it. Our team specifically, our team specifically is, I think it's beneficial as long as you're I think you're aware of your time and you use the break. I think that's the biggest criticism a lot of people have is that the 2-hour break you can't use efficiently because most players will just play solo queue anyways. So why aren't you playing more games if you're just solo queuing? And I think it's important to use that time. For me personally, I think it's good to move around, get a drink of water, just give some variety to your brain so that you have more focus when you're actually scrimming. Because I think scrimming 5 games in a row, you can really mesh all the games together, and you don't get the value out of the 4th and 5th game specifically that you can. Usually. So I just think that I really think that this entire everyone's trying to figure out the perfect recipe for the perfect scrim block. And I think it's just are the players willing to use the time in the break effectively? And if they're not, I mean, that's on you. If you're getting outvoted 7 teams to 3, for example, that want the new system, and you're the one getting outvoted, that's just on you to not use the time efficiently, the break time that you're given. But I think, I'm fine either way because I think it's just, it's all about just giving the best that you can.
Okay, awesome. I appreciate that perspective. I got 2 more questions for you. They're relatively short and they're kind of the same thing. But
Okay.
one, I want to know what do you have to say to the haters, and then 2, what do you have to say to the TSM fans that have just been doom scrolling basically for the entire offseason?
To the haters, I'd say, that's your own opinion and you're welcome to have it. I think, say what you want to say. It's your life. But I think obviously there's try and be positive. And
Fair.
to the fans, thank you. I mean, I understand that TSM isn't where a lot of fans want it to be or felt like it should be given the past. And we're not like the most, I guess, expensive team that's the player that TSM is used to. But I think Glenn did a really good job at finding players of high value that like maybe are undervalued. And I think yeah.
Well, I know that I'm looking forward to it. I think you guys had a great weekend to kind of, at a minimum, alleviate fans. But I think there's more in there. So I really do appreciate you taking the time, and I wish you the best in your upcoming games next week.
Thank you.